This is Lemon's Car Spotting. You post to Instagram with the hashtag Lemon's Car Spotting. We pick the hooptiest.
They are so incredibly terrible.
And which one we want to become a real Lemons build.
It does car-like things. I've been pushing for one of those in Lemons too, and those are very affordable.
This is Lemon's Car Spotting. You guys know the drill. Got the Lemons build here and the hooptiest here. Eric, close your eyes. Tell me when to stop. Stop. That was a long one.
Yeah.
That was the Lemons build. You're doing the Lemons build. I'm doing the hooptiest. Here we go. Off to the races. Oh, man. And off to the races we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Boy, much to discuss. C3 Corvettes. One on the left has something special happening.
Yeah. I know that the C3 was kind of peak, late C3s were peak body kit madness. And,
right.
There's a whole lot of that happening there.
Well, so we have had one C3 total in Lemons, I believe, and it's the famous BMW Straight Six powered one that Aaron Brooks and company built in the Pacific Northwest. From a distance, it's like the ultimate $500 my ass mobile. Yeah. I mean, it looks spectacular, but it's a totally home built thing. Aaron is just a really gifted fabricator,
right?
And labor is free if you do it yourself. So
what's ironic about that car is that it started out looking a lot like this.
Well, so that's the point I was getting to, is that people don't. They just see the after and they think, well, it costs tens of thousands of dollars to get to that point. Anybody can go into the forest and find a C3 Corvette. Yeah. And if you're talented enough, you can make it into a Lemons car.
Yeah.
God, is the tree actually growing out of the one on the right?
It really looks that way, yeah.
But the one on the right is clearly not the one you want for obvious reasons. So.
Yeah, you want the left. Someone in the comments can elucidate on which body kit this is, but it's got the big flared fenders, but a narrow body.
Yeah.
I don't think there are headlight cutouts anywhere in there.
And when you're driving that, who cares?
Yeah, that's right. You're driving faster than darkness.
So. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, there was all kinds of, there was the Greenwood kit was a big one back then. The caption on this thing says Mako Shark. That was actually a factory concept car, which I assume this is not, although it's very possible that somebody made a knockoff replica that you could buy. Anyway, do this for Lemons.
Yeah.
You'd be the king of the paddock.
Strong start.
Very strong. Oh, man. And a strong General Motors follow-up. Oh, God.
Like a two-door 88? What is it? It's a Regal.
Yeah.
It's a Regal.
No, this is where I have to defer to my Midwest colleague because I don't know what's happening here. Actually, I think it says Regal on the quarter panel. Does it?
Yeah,
not?
It's a Regal coupe of some sort. The caption says it's presidential. I assume that is what the tag is on the C pillar there.
On the Landau top. Yeah,
with the opera light, by the way.
Yep.
So this one is tarted up, which is great with the. Space Saver spare.
Saver is really the pièce de résistance. Yeah, I mean, so presidential. It looks oddly factory.
Yeah.
So, in the comments, tell us what's the deal with the Regal presidential coupe, because this is not something I have seen before.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Buick body line where all of the cars look like this, and independently, if you just see them, you couldn't tell which one was which because they all look identical.
Yeah,
and they were 3 inches bigger each. So the Century Coupe is 99 inch wheelbase. This is 104 or whatever. I'm pulling that out of my ass, but
sure.
They're completely identical in any normal sense, which is why I have a hard time telling them apart. But this is a Regal coupe, which is pretty rare, actually. I don't know that I've ever seen one of these, but missing the door trim. It's got the door handle on the door up on the B pillar, which is a nice touch, very 80s. So I'm sure it's cush inside and plush on the road.
Indeed. And the president, whenever this was built, would either have been Ronald Reagan or Bill Clinton. So,
yeah,
very presidential.
Yes.
All right. Is it a Geospectrum? No, it's a Chevy Sprint.
Yeah. What was the difference? Are they not the same?
I guess it's the same.
Yeah.
It's based on the Suzuki Swift of the same time.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right. So, yeah, 3-cylinder turbo, I think, in the Sprint.
Well, there was. I guess I was. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I was always under the impression that the turbo was an optional thing. That there was a regular 3-cylinder, and then there was the Sprint turbo. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many fascinating things about these cars when you see them now. First of which is just how tiny they are in every aspect, Yeah. Those are maybe 13-inch wheels that are, a 155 section width. The exhaust pipe is a 1-inch pipe. The door, God, I remember closing doors on a Festiva, which is, of the same caliber. And it just felt like you could bend the door in your hand. Amazing that any of these still exist.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of get a bad rap in the States because the thing about the States is that they are big. And if there's a spot that fits a Chevy Sprint, then it's probably also big enough for a normal car.
Right.
So there isn't a huge benefit unless your car lives in Manhattan and never leaves.
Yeah.
But in other parts of the world, this size makes a ton of sense. If you're in Asia or Europe, where the streets are even narrower and the interstates are not as vast. I don't know. I kind of like these little cars, but no reason to own one here. That's for sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out really quickly that the way they styled the hatch looks like they tried to make the world's smallest notchback, and I kind of dig it.
Yeah, it's got the little hint of a spoiler. Yeah, I do dig that. It does work. All right, next up.
Oh baby.
Man. Speaking of $500 my ass, we have never seen an Esprit. Famously, the Chotus is based on an Eclat or
it's an Elite.
An Elite, yeah, right.
Which really should be Elite L33T. But,
yeah, exactly. Well, the primary difference with the Esprit is that it's a mid-engined machine.
Right.
And so the sky's the limit. You've got your MR2 drivetrain possibility, Fiero, Transverse, GM 3800. Somebody in the comments says a baby LS, the front drive LS from a Malibu. So many choices for the Lotus. And then you can be like the people in the Chotus and discover that car's pretty rickety.
Yeah. Turns out the whole saving weight is taken to the extreme, makes a pretty flimsy automobile.
Yeah, I did not. A good buddy of mine has an Elan, and it's an incredible machine. I mean, everything you've read about the Elan is true. It's quick. The steering's amazing. It's just, it does everything effortlessly because it weighs nothing. But the secret to that is making a car that is missing things that are considered to be essential to any other normal car.
Yeah.
So it's beating the system in that sense, but boy, are they flimsy. And actually, if you were to build this for Lemons, which we do recommend, check with tech boss John Pagel first, because there's a lot of safety things that we'd probably ask you to go above and beyond the normal standards for a real car, because this is essentially just a fiberglass death trap.
Yeah. Famously, the DeLorean was designed by Lotus alongside the Esprit, at least the backbone of it was. So you could put a PRV in this and make your own DeLorean.
Make a Lotus chassis DeLorean.
That's right. That's right.
I like that. That's a good.
But yes, they're built on like it's almost like an I-beam.
Yeah,
is the layout.
Yeah.
So caging them is very difficult.
Basically. Yeah, where it's a single backbone that flares out at the sides, which as you would imagine, does wonders for side impact safety.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're waiting for one in Lemons. You can be the person that brings it. Oh, this is a dash cam. That's a good sign.
Is that a Sunchaser? What am I looking at?
What am I looking at? I was thinking it was something really weird, like a TVR.
Oh, yeah. I bet it is. A Tasman?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Boy. Yep. In the comments, if you can, initially I thought it was one of those late 70s Aston Martins, but whatever they called that, the Vantage. But now I'm getting kind of TVR vibes, or possible. Did they make the later iteration of the Avanti? Was there a convertible of that?
There was. I think you've nailed it with the rear end as I look at it.
Yeah.
Very Avanti. Now, famously, and I think I probably mentioned this before, the bad guys in Karate Kid, their cool car they were driving around in, a red Avanti convertible.
Man, I haven't seen that movie in forever. That's great car casting.
Yeah, no, I hadn't seen that movie in forever, like since long before I was a car guy. And like, I don't know, I was watching it 10 years ago and I was like, that's an Avanti. Like what? Like, the Avanti 3 that had been brought back in the early 80s. Yeah. So, it was the rich kids from Reseda or whatever. Not Reseda, the other place.
Well, this dash cam is from Laguna Beach. Maybe
maybe this is Johnny's car from Cobra Kai.
Karate Kid, it's all real. Oh man.
If you zoom there we go. It should Avanti convertible, it says it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, there you go. All right.
Now, all of that said, TVR 280i, bring that to Lemons.
Yeah, we've never had a TVR in
Toyota Sunchaser, bring that to Lemons and watch the entire Radwood crowd show up to lynch you.
Why you ruined Rad?
Yeah, I mean, Sunchaser probably I had this discussion actually with Jeff Stobbs from the Lemons Rally recently about how Toyota made the Sunchaser, and I guess somebody made 2 Mazda 626 convertibles. And then there is one Datsun 200 SX convertible that has much Lemons provenance. But
yeah. No, that's a famous machine. The 200 SX convertible. It's shown up Concord Lemons, various Lemons functions.
Yes. That's a long story and maybe a Lemons World episode for down the road.
Yeah. Well, amazingly, the one car we've had out of all of those in Lemons is the Avanti,
right?
Not the convertible. So you could be the first. All right. Next up, oh boy, into our blind spot.
Yeah, it looks like it's a DeSoto or a Dodge, I think. With the teeth is the giveaway on the DeSoto.
Yeah. Caption does say DeSoto. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, would have been an early Hemi car.
Yeah.
DeSoto is where the Firedome debuted.
Great name for a motor.
The side trim is odd.
It's odd, but it weirdly works. Especially, it obviously originally was in a contrasting color. It looked like it had been that classic light seafoam green over cream. Scheme that you would see in those days. This is cool. This, we saw that, whatever it was, the Hudson a few weeks back, that was sort of a mess. With all of it had way too many 50s details. This one is about the right amount. I'm not crazy about the giant protruding hood ornament.
Right.
But the rest of it kind of works. And this is, by 50 standards, not a huge vehicle.
Right.
So, no, this is super cool. I mean, this would look amazing in sort of a Carrera Panamericana style.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's a coupe, too, looks like. I can't tell. I don't think it's a convertible, but it's got a weird roof treatment. Maybe it's just chrome trimmed out. Well,
it looks like it's sort of a triple tone paint. So, whether it was aluminum or not, bare aluminum look roof and then cream and green on the bottom. It's pretty snazzy.
Yeah, this would be spectacular in Lemons. Love all the mid 50 stuff. And this is about, they talk about 50 to 57, try 5, all that, getting the styling right. But I like the period just before that, like 53, 54, I think is what I like. And this is kind of that transition in between where, GM was at the forefront and Chrysler was a year behind. So this is kind of a nice transition fossil.
Yeah. Well, and it's abandoned.
Yeah.
Make it a race car.
Could be yours.
Yeah. All right. Next up. Oh no.
Raider.
into the weird realm of Mitsubishi trucks. Although this one is actually a Mitsubishi.
Is this one's the actual Mitsubishi?
I don't know. I
thought this was a Dakota.
I was hoping you would confirm that theory because I have no idea either.
I know that Suzuki and Mitsubishi had badge engineered trucks that were the same, but I think they were a Frontier or a Dakota.
Yeah, well, the Suzuki Equator was a Frontier.
Okay, then this might also be, or it might be a Dakota, or it might be something else. Nobody really knows, but good Lord, is it weird.
Well, in Mitsubishi, I mean, sometimes they're the supplier and sometimes they're the one slapping their name on something. It's like you would think that there would be some pecking order, like, okay, always start with this. And it's for Mitsubishi and Chrysler, it was like, okay, your turn to make a car. We did it last year. It's like the even years Chrysler makes it and the odd years Mitsubishi has to make it. So I don't know. What was that one you found? Or I guess that was an Isuzu. That was a rebadged Colorado, which is something I had never seen before.
Yeah, it was like an Isuzu 28i or some number.
Whatever. That would be a great multi-car team. Is all of the weird badge, the lesser known of the badge engineered trucks. So you've got the Equator, whatever that Isuzu is, and then whatever this is. You said it's a Raider.
I think it's a Raider. I'm not.
The door area is definitely the door handles are kind of screaming Dakota to me, but boy,
it's like a Dakota, but they put weird bulgy fenders on it and it's just very cartoonish looking, which I don't know.
God, very strange. Well, there you go. All right. Staying in the, wait a minute. For a second, I initially thought it was a Mitsubishi Colt, but now thinking it might be a Corona?
A Corona wagon, I think. Yeah.
It's got a lot going on.
Yeah. I mean, you might say it has everything going on. There's extra reflectors or maybe lights. It's got a weird side double tip exhaust.
Yeah.
Has the big wing canted forward, make all of the drag. It has the window visor, the windshield visor, I should say. Yeah. The only thing it's missing is fender mirrors, which is kind of disappointing, actually.
Yeah. Where is this? That's looking like a non-US plate.
Yeah.
But
Panama.
At least part of the sign. Oh, is it Panama?
It says Panama, yeah.
There you go. All right. Well,
it's the coolest dude in Panama.
Yeah. And this is a rare post from Panama that's not from Panama Car Spotting.
Yeah.
This is from Teflon Mask. So
apparently we have a following in Panama, which
yeah. Well, that explains the partly anyway English signage behind it.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent machine. Moving on. Oh, dude, it's a Galaxy, like a mid 60s. I had one of these, a $500 terrible version as a melee car, and it was amazing. It had an FE big block, put some loud side pipes on it. Former Lemons race controller Jeff Glenn had painted it up like a Golf GT40. And granted, these are the days before Lemons, where like we hadn't seen that done a million times, and it was pretty original at the moment. Yeah, that was an incredible, double bench seat. You could fit 8 people in there just sitting side by side. There were occasions where you'd be driving down the freeway and it'd be like sitting in a living room and you're just talking to everybody and you'd be like, hey, wait a minute, who's driving? Oh, it's me. Oh, God.
Believable. Yeah. This is my dad's first car. It was like a 65 Galaxy, which would have been this.
Yeah. Well, obviously the cool ones that people want is the 2-door fastback with the sort of the sloping roof is the cool one to have. The sedans, boy, I mean, you don't see too many of them. They're so big and difficult to store, and they're not really worth anything. They're not as cool as a Cadillac or a Lincoln. So they're just sort of. I mean, I don't know that there's a huge collector following for one of these, so you could easily get one for Lemon's money.
Yeah. And this is kind of right at the, if you follow the collector market, which I only do for like the 3 cars that I'm interested in. But one of them is a Ford from around this time, and they are not worth any money right now. You can go scoop them up. Nobody wants them. The easy thing to do if you were doing Lemons with this is to paint it up in battleship gray and put a helicopter pad painting on the back, and have like a 1/6 scale model helicopter landing on it and taking off regularly because it looks like a big boat.
Yeah. Well, and we've always said the giant object is one of our favorite Lemons themes, boat or aircraft carrier or parking garage. And starting with a humongous slab-sized machine like this is a good starting point for any of those ideas.
Now I want a parking garage theme. Like I want a car turned into a parking garage, with cars parked all around it.
Actually, that is a really good idea. Like the Hot Wheels garage with the ramps. Boy, kids would love that. You'd have a bunch of toy cars, and in cold track hours, kids could just come and play on your car like a giant Hot Wheels toy. Yeah. That's
kids and drunk adults.
And when I say kids, I mean myself. All right, last car of the week. Back into one of our perennial favorites, the K car. Now, which version of the K car is it?
It's a 400 or a 600. I'm no expert on that. I can't remember what they made into a convertible.
I'm cheating. This is back to Southern Ohio backroads cars. Now that I know how to read that. He says it's a Dodge 600 ES Turbo.
There you go.
So there you go. It looks mint.
Yeah, it does.
So the 600 was where in the grand pecking order of K cars?
That's a great question.
I mean, it's the sporty one. It's not because like the New Yorker or whatever would have been like the luxury one.
That's Chrysler though. I think the 600 was the top of the Dodge
spectrum, right? But it was kind of aimed more at a sporty as opposed to a cruiser. So it's got the alloy wheels, kind of monochrome paint, hood vents. I mean, I guess this would have been sort of like an E30 convertible competitor.
Oh, man. Yeah. Again, after many drinks, maybe. I think this was basically the Dodge version of the LeBaron convertible. It had the 2.5 turbo or 2.2, whatever they were using at the time. Probably had a stick. I kind of like the all white treatment. Like the triple white kind of works.
Yeah. Speaking
as much as anything works on a car like this, but.
Well, and going back to the E30 comparison, I wouldn't be surprised if that turbo motor had more power than the 6-cylinder BMW of the time, and this thing probably cost half as much, which incidentally is still Chrysler's idea. It's like, well, is it better? I don't know, but it's Hellcat. And, for a certain segment of the buying public, that's all you need.
I mean, it's a strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, at least it's clear. I've said it many times. General Motors is confusing. Chrysler may be dumb, but is very clear in what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Obvious works. So, boy, 600, never seen one of those in Lemons.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen one, period. So,
if I did, it was in 1987.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to bring up the sore subject of K cars and lemons again, but really, what have we seen? I mean, we've seen a couple of minivan variations, which sort of a K car.
The terrible Duster,
the terrible Duster, which even that isn't a true K car, is it? That's like
no,
that's the next
whatever. Right. Yeah, the only true K car we've ever had has been the K car, the worst lemons car of all time.
Yeah, the worst lemons car of all time, which was an Aries wagon, I believe. Right,
it was a Reliant, but nobody actually cares. Yeah. They threw away all the actual stock parts within 3 months. And then
so that's actually kind of remarkable that's the only true K car we've ever seen. And 2.2, 2.5 turbo, you read on the internet, that's a wastegate spring away from 400 daily drivable horsepower.
That's right. That's right. The internet wouldn't lie about that.
They wouldn't lie about stuff like that. All right, I've got the hooptiest. Let me look at my list. Some good choices this week, actually. A higher hoopty contingent, but nothing is more hoopty than an abandoned Lotus, because let's be honest, they were terrible when they were new. All apologies to Lotus fans, but it was one of those cars that in the 80s, it looked as exotic as a Ferrari or Lamborghini or whatever. And, even by those standards, I mean, Ferraris and Lamborghinis of that period weren't great either. But the Lotus was the ricketiest, the most likely to burst into flames and or, have a wheel fall off or some kind of Hanna-Barbera style mechanical failure. So they were hoopty to begin with. This one is abandoned and covered in leaves. So that's got to be my pick.
Yeah, man. For Lemon's build, geez, there's so many. The 600 turbo, obviously in there. Love to see one of those. The DeSoto, the Avanti convertible. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But I mean, between the two that we really would die to see, the C3 Corvette that is totally hammered and nasty, but man, you better fire up the Daily Devil.
Oh, we're going back to the Lotus.
I think we need a Lotus Esprit and lemons.
Yeah. Well, like the Chotus, boy. We've had this idea to do a full lemons world on the Chotus, and there's just so much information and video footage that it's just daunting. So we haven't done it yet. We will at some day, but the short version, if there's such a thing, of the Chotus story is they took a Lotus Elite or a Clot, one of those early 80s, late 70s front engine sort of shooting brake style Lotus, put a small block Chevy into it. It's fast when it runs, and they have had every problem under the sun with that thing.
Yeah.
And it finally won its first IOE at Buttonwillow last year. It was one of those cars where, to the extent that we root for IOE, which we really don't, but we always thought, hey, those guys, they're due an IOE, and they could just, and we would set these artificial barriers of like, all right, if they finish in the top half, I think they've got it, and they never would. I mean, for years and years and years, and the team is great too, and they actually finally asked us. It wasn't specifically their goal to get an IOE, but they finally asked us, like, are we even in the discussion for this? Because I don't know if we really want to keep doing it if we aren't. And, we told them, well, nothing is guaranteed and nobody is either in or out of the discussion. However, I will say you guys are most definitely in the discussion and you just can't make it run.
Yeah.
So,
well, famously, they won Class C finally after 39 races or something. And they did it in Washington State, and on the tow home, somebody tried to steal it off of their trailer while they were at a truck stop. So
forgot about that.
Yeah, that story is for another day. There's so much depth to it, but you could start your own legacy with a a Totus with a
Yeah.
TZZ in it.
Yeah. Well, that's the key. You can't make a Chotus because the Chotus has been done. I think what you have to do is you have to come up with words that sound good. I mean, I think POTUS with
POTUS,
the Fiero drivetrain and everybody dressed as dead presidents is an obvious one.
Yeah.
Just start with that, and you are on the fast track to Lemon's fame.
Yep. Man, it's a Lotus Esprit. There are more of them out there like this.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Go find one.
You don't have to look that hard.
Sell off the side mirrors that are probably worth $300 to somebody. And, you're halfway to $500 probably. So.
Yeah. As if we would give you a penalty if you showed up with a POTUS.
Valid. As long as it doesn't have like a Lamborghini motor in it or something.
No, it can have
actually,
a Lamborghini. It can't have an LS and it can't have like, a turbo Toyota or something like that.
Yeah.
It's got a Fiero. You're good.
You're in good shape. Yeah.
Man. All right. That'll do it for Lemon's Car Spotting. Keep tagging your photos on Instagram. Start turning some of these cars. We have yet to see our first Lemon's Car Spotting suggestion turn into a real Lemon's car. So keep that in the back of your mind. And we'll see you next week. It's got the wheels. I mean, those wheels, they're going to be cool once you take the leaves off them. I have faith.